Hello, apes. Welcome to 5B Screencast Market Prices. I'm going to try out this new method of getting information out to you, and we'll see how it goes. So today we're going to be talking about how prices are determined and some of the things that come after we determine the prices. So for lots of people, a long day at the beach is best ended with a good juicy hamburger. But how much will that hamburger cost? What actually determines its price? Of course, the restaurants can put any price they want on the menu, but the price listed can't be too high or not many people will buy the burgers. If the price is too low, they may sell out of hamburgers long before the end of the day. So the price of hamburger is not just set by the restaurants, and it's the choices made by customers and consumers that play a role in how many hamburgers are bought. So we can easily ask customers about their choices, and you can survey all the people on the beach and ask them how many hamburgers they would likely buy at various prices. So if you look at the chart on the left, it'll tell you the total number of hamburgers the people at the beach are willing to buy at different prices. So if you notice, as the price goes up, people are less willing to buy the hamburgers. Same thing with gas prices. When they go up, people start conserving. So right now, gas prices are going down, which means that people are starting to buy more gas. So the table like this is called a demand schedule. And from this demand schedule, what we can do is we can put that into a graph. So the sellers of hamburgers at the restaurants, you can actually go ask them as well what it is that they want. What is the profit margin that they want to make? So this is the number of hamburgers that each seller is willing to sell at various prices. So as the price goes up, they're willing to sell more hamburgers. However, for consumers, when the price goes down, they're willing to buy more. So when you put all this information together about supply and demand, so when you plot the demand, it looks like this. And then when you plot the supply, it looks like this. And then what you end up getting is you end up getting a point in the middle where they meet, which is called your equilibrium price. So the price is $2.50 and the quantity that they're going to sell is about 2,100, and that is the happy place that exists for everyone. So at $2.50, the number of hamburgers people are willing to buy matches the number of hamburgers the restaurants are willing to sell at that price. At prices over $2.50, some of them are going to get stuck with unsold hamburgers, and those restaurants would probably lower the prices of their burgers. However, if the prices are under $2.50, you're going to have people buying more burgers, and they're going to sell out too quickly. So the restaurants will often raise the prices a bit when they see that the demand is starting to go up because their prices are a bit too low. Normally, prices rise and fall quickly to the level at which supply and demand are in balance. So if we want to end this specific section, we can look at the graph that we made. It's so pretty. So here what we have are depletion curves, non-renewable mineral resource depletion curves. We don't get depletion curves with renewable resources because renewable resources can't be depleted. Well, they can. Like trees, you can definitely deplete trees, which is a really great example to use for this. So this is the time it takes to use up about 80% of the reserves of a mineral at a given rate. So your first curve here, curve A, if you look down here, you have time, and then to the left, you have production. Okay, so with A, your production is increasing, and we're using it up, and then it crashes, and there's no more. So your depletion time is fairly quickly. Whereas for B, it takes more time to deplete the resource. And then for curve C, it takes much longer to deplete the resource. So with A, you're mining, you're using it, you're throwing it away, there are no new discoveries. And then for C, you're recycling, reusing, reducing the consumption. You're increasing your reserves by improved mining technologies. You're having higher prices because when there are higher prices, people are going to use less of it. And what you're actively doing is going out and trying to discover new reserves or new ways of actually getting to those resources, similar to something that fracking did for the oil and gas industry. Our depletion curves have come down from an A, I would say, to a B because of the new technology of fracking. Along the same lines, market prices affect the supplies of non-renewable minerals. So what you have is you have subsidies and tax breaks to a lot of mining companies, and that keeps mineral prices artificially low. So we're not actually paying the real price that it costs to get that mineral out of the ground. What we're doing is we're paying for what it costs the company because they've been given money by the government to actually undergo this mining. So a depletion allowance is permission to deduct the cost of developing and extracting minerals from taxes. So if you've already done your cookie mining lab, this is basically your recovery cost, your reclamation costs, okay? They can take those away from their taxes. They don't have to pay taxes from it, okay? If you haven't done cookie mining yet, keep in mind your reclamation costs for tomorrow for cookie mining. So most consumers are unaware of the real costs of mining. We pay the taxes that provide the subsidies, so we're really paying for these subsidies, we're really paying for these minerals in other ways. So in a true free market system, no company or group controls prices of a good or a service. Your market prices in a phenomenal world would include all of the direct and indirect costs. So if you're buying coconut oil, it would include the price of degrading the rainforests that were cut down in order for these coconut palms to be grown. But that isn't usually included in our market economy. When consumers have full information about beneficial and harmful environmental effects of goods and services, they can make their own decisions. But the way that our economy is structured, a lot of that information is hidden. And we're going to see a lot of that when we do genetically modified. In the real world, there are tax breaks, subsidies, trade barriers, and the withholding of negative information. So we really don't have true cost pricing in the real world, although I think it would be phenomenal if we did. So then the question is asked, why isn't full cost pricing more widely used? I know that I would love if I knew where all of my food came from and the chemicals it was treated with and what the true full cost of it actually was. But businesses would have to raise their prices and would likely go out of business because people are used to paying for cheap produce, cheap minerals, cheap things. We want everything to be very low price. And a lot of times it's very difficult to estimate the environmental and health costs. Businesses have strong influence on the government, so they have these lobbyists to get preferential regulations, tax breaks, and subsidies. Optimum resource use relates directly to mining. So your cost of extracting this mineral, coal, is the blue line represented right here, whereas the red line here is the marginal benefit of the resource use. So it's profitable to mine coal, but at some point, the marginal cost of further removal to get that itty bitty bit that's left in, it's going to be more of a problem than it is to actually then bring the amount that you got out afterwards to market. So where these two curves meet, you have your optimum level of resource use. When you're at that point, that's kind of when you should call it quits, because for you to go further, it's not going to benefit you when it comes to monetary terms. And last but not least here, we have labels that sometimes companies put, okay, on their products. So product eco-labeling can actually encourage companies to develop these green products, because what happens is people like me look for stuff that's forest sustainable certified, looks for stuff that's USDA organic, and are willing to pay higher prices for these products that have this eco-labeling. Also, you have a certification program. In the US, you have a green seal labeling program, which you've probably never seen because it's very rare right now. And a lot of companies try to take advantage of these certification programs, and they actually greenwash. And that's a deceptive practice to make something seem environmentally beneficial. So if you go to the grocery store, you'll see organic farms, and it's not really grown organically. Organic farms is just the name of the farm. It has nothing to do with USDA organic. Okay, so we'll see how this works, and I'll see you guys tomorrow in class.